What's up, everybody? It's another edition of Talkin All That Kazz with me, DJ Kazzeo. That's right. This is where you find interviews that I conduct on my radio show. I isolate them, put them to a video format so you can watch them anytime, check them out, and it's basically the audio with a picture of the artist that I'm interviewing and my web address. So pretty basic, but it's a lot of interviews that people don't often get to hear sometimes because they don't have time to listen to my radio show, or they don't have time to listen to the complete 2-hour show on my Mixcloud channel. So this is isolated interview clips, and here's another one. Let's see who I'm talking to this time. In 3, 2, 1. All right, man. So we are back in the building right now, joined by a very special guest, Mic Handz. What's up, brother?
Everything good. How y'all doing out there? Salute.
We are living life the way we hopefully are intended to.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'm doing the same.
Hey, man. So want to thank you for taking time to call into the show tonight. Got a few things to discuss, including the latest project with L Undercover, which is something we've been playing a whole lot of the last few weeks.
Greatly appreciate it. That's that means a lot, man. That project is definitely a passion piece, so it means a lot when people connect with it.
Indeed, man. Hey, real quick, if I can ask you one thing, could you turn down your radio there, because you're kind of feeding back?
Oh, I don't have any radio. Let me turn it down. It might be the headset. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let me. How's it? Is it any better?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
No, we appreciate it, man.
We just trying to make sure we get the most clear signal,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm reading, some stuff about you. The first thing, when I was doing my research, I took a look, and I was like, wait a minute. He kind of looks like Exhibit. Have you ever heard that before?
I have. It's the eyebrows that tend to do it.
Yeah, man. So, coming out of Brooklyn, talk to me about the origins of Mic Handz.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. There's been so many different avenues that I've taken within and without the culture to try to get where I'm at. Most people in life live a lot of lives before they figure out which one they're supposed to be in, And I'm a illustrator and designer by trade. I've been in fashion 20 plus years. I've been an illustrator and designer 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. I was a singer before I was an MC. I've been in and around the music industry since the 6th grade. I played basketball, high school, college. I thought that was the path that I was going to be on in a minute. I ended up in the street. I ran that version, ended up locked up, ran that version. I had children young, ran that version. All to just figure out that I was none of that. I was just me. And all of those were just things that I carried in my pocket. So once I realized that, then I had a better handle on it. And then I was able to delegate those different things in my pocket to my strength.
What was the attraction to transfer from singing to rapping?
Well, we had a deal young in a boy group era, back with boys, some other folks around the world. And there was a clause our parents had in place that if we failed or our grades dropped below a certain space, then we had to hang that up. And a couple members in the group did that. They gave us a grace period. They did it a second marking period. That all went away. So the group was gone. A lot of our relationships at that time were through a parent manager we had of one of the members who were no longer eligible, and it all kind of went away. So I was kind of idle. Still wanted to do the music thing, but I had no end. I ran into an individual named Harold Lee Sr., who ended up picking me up from management. I ended up singing a while, working on something with him. That didn't pan all the way out, and then I just kind of didn't know what to do. Some friends of mine, Aaron Vera and Chris Marshall, decided that they were going to start a rap group and that they wanted me to be involved. I'm like, I don't rap. I don't know how to rap. So we're going to teach you. And at the time, his older brother Dre was in a group called Chaos and Mass Confusion. He was Mass Confusion. Chaos happened to be Babyface Chaos, who ultimately ended up being Chaos and the Bush Babies.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
They were upstairs. You know, they're upstairs rapping for real. We're downstairs completely decimating hip-hop trying to do it. But we're listening to them through the floor and trying to mimic what they were doing. And then eventually we got the hang of it. Everybody ended up going their separate ways eventually. But I ended up sticking with it. And once I realized that I could be more expressive, and it was less rules, you know, being a vocal recording artist, there's a lot of rules. And it limits some of the creativity where you can just do what you feel all the time. There was no rules to tonality and no rules to chord progression and things of that nature. I could just kind of do what I felt organically, and I was just more productive. I'd be working on a vocal song for like 3 studio sessions, and then with rap, I would knock out 3 songs in a session. I'm like, this is way more cost effective for somebody in this budget space. And without support, I had to go with what I could do, and that was more attainable. And then I fell in love with it and never looked back.
Well, no doubt you have to maximize your time and your resources. Were there any nuances or tricks of the trade that you got from Chaos that you carried with yourself in your career?
Yeah, ironically, one night we were coming. We used to all grow up hanging on this Army base called Fort Hamilton in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And Chaos was one of the older cats, a couple years older than me, that hung out there with us. And they kind of looked out for us. So apparently it leaked that I was rapping. Now, this is back when Ambush, the album, was still on a CD, and the playlist was literally typed on the back with like a real typewriter.
I remember those days.
Yeah. So for me, I'm like, oh, I got a friend, he got a whole CD. Like, as far as I was concerned, it came from Virgin Megastore. It wasn't the only one in existence. Like, this, it was already in full production as far as I was concerned. I know a superstar.
Right.
So we used to have these things called a lock-in, where the youth at the youth center, we would come at 8 p.m., they'd lock the doors, and they wouldn't open it again until 8 a.m. So they just had entertainment, refreshments, everything for us for the night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so something they used to do on the base that we got to be a part of. I'd be a part of that base community. And what happens is, one night we're coming home after all that, and then me and him get on the R train at 95th Street, which is the closest train to the base that was on 101st. And we would ride to Atlantic Avenue. I would go my way to Flatbush. He would go his way to his side of Flatbush. And he's like, I heard you rapping. I'm like, yeah. At this time, I'm still very intimidated. I don't have a lot of confidence in what I'm doing. I'm not amongst someone that's already, quote-unquote, doing it for real. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, yeah. So he's like, let me hear something. So I rapped. And he was like, I don't believe you. I'm like, what? I didn't know how to take that. And I have a DMX story like that, too. But he was like, I don't believe you. And I'm like, you don't believe me? And that's when he taught me delivery and diction, which were 2 words I had never heard outside of singing as they applied to rap. I didn't understand. And he taught me to live my rhymes. He said, you have to live it. Like, people have to believe every single word, and you have to deliver it.
Right.
In your,
right.
And the 3rd word he taught me was cadence. So delivery, diction, and cadence. So, of course, for the next 2 years, I sound like the Swing It record. Because he was my only point of reference of someone doing it right. So, after I got out of my chaos sounder like Sadie, I kind of found my way into my own voice. But I took those lessons with me forever.
That's good, man. Yeah, you definitely have to have an air of sincerity in your approach. Otherwise, you're just going to be thought of as like a studio gangster.
Well, and even just not in street rhymes, like even with my introspective records and things like that.
Right.
It's you're forgetting that it's like being on film. Like, you have to, whatever role you're playing and whatever you're trying to convey in this particular piece, you have to be able to sell it completely. It's not just that you wrote the right words that are telling the right story, but you have to create the narrative. And I was able to grasp that and then learn how to shift into whatever mode or mood that the music put me in.
Nice, man. Hey, so I got a question regarding this the Golden Era Timeless album that dropped. This looks like some of it feels like a little bit of a culmination of songs done through the last couple years. Am I?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no. Is that why it's called Timeless? Because that's pretty dope.
Yeah. Well, so to me, I just had a philosophy that the golden era of music, that sound is just timeless. You can put on a Biggie Smalls record right now,
right,
and get the same energy in the venue. You can put on, honestly, if you're in a hip hop environment, you can put on a booming system by LL Cool J and get the same nostalgic energy. You can put on any Jay-Z record from Reasonable Doubt; it'll hit the same way as if it dropped this week.
Right.
I felt like that was the only era of our genre of music that has actually completely transcended. Doesn't sound and feel dated. It just transcended. And I mean, even the youth culture grew up with their parents playing it. So it still has and because that generation of parents were younger, it still has it has an absence of a gap generationally like we had with our parents. At least I had with mine.
Oh, yeah.
Where I appreciated all that music that my mom played growing up. I know it word for word. However, if I had a choice, that probably wouldn't have been what I had in my playlist.
Right.
You know.
But now,
even though now it dominates my personal playlist, ironically. But go ahead.
Now, as you get older, you appreciate what you heard as a kid more than you were, rejecting it as the way you did when you were a kid.
Yep.
However, I didn't reject it. I just found the music talking to me, right?
Right.
So it's just like going to the movies. I loved Police Academy. I loved Weird Science. I loved Breakfast Club and all of that stuff. However,
you talking about my DVD collection right now?
All right. So then we are locked in. So you understand what I mean? So with all that said, when Wild Style came out, or when Breakin' came out, or Beat Street came out, or Crush Groove came out, all of a sudden I felt like they were making movies for me.
Right.
I was like, they made this movie for me. If y'all go see it, that's cool too. But they only wanted one ticket sale, and that was for me. And that's how I felt like it was speaking to me. And I think when I found my way to the hip hop space, that's what I felt like. Like, I loved music. I didn't care where it came from, but I finally found music that I felt like was made for me personally.
That's
and
what's
I
up.
think that's how I connected. And that's pretty much where it is. I think even in this youth culture, there's a lot of youth that are very retro. If you remember, there was a group called the Retro Kids that had flat tops and polka dots like Kwame, and this was like in the mid-2000s, early 2000s.
Yep.
That just connected with the retro energy, as they would call it. But to me, I just felt like it was timeless. It never went anywhere. Like, our genre is the only one that didn't stop through all of the transformation.
True. Very true.
You know what I mean? Like, people stop saying "huh" at the end of records. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? However, with Golden Era, yeah, it's your boy. You heard, I said, though all of those still transpire now in the newer music. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Now, the cadences might have, tripled up, and the lack of need of sturdy content might have laxed. But they still have appreciation for the setups, and you can still see nuances from where we were, and they still have us, and I say that speaking for the genre, in their playlist.
Exactly. Some things just can't be let go of.
It's
That's
timeless.
True.
And then if you guys have seen the cover art for the album,
yes,
the representation of the cover art, we were trying to figure out how do we convey that I've been connected to each era of hip-hop without saying he's old as hell, right? So what they did, the illustrator literally went through Google and scoured the best he could. And he found images with different chains that I had at different points in my journey. And that's why I have the chain stacked on, because each chain represented the chain I had late 80s, 90s. The one I had late 90s, 2000s, mid 2000s. And, you know, the one I had on now is the one that I'd be wearing in person. But that was his way of showing my presence throughout the eras of hip-hop.
Right.
And I thought that was so clever that I ran with it. But each one of those chains I'm wearing on the collar, on the cover, I had at different points.
Well, you know, when I look at the cover, it instantly, for some reason, reminds me of the cover of the Pharoah Monch Simon Says 12-inch.
How crazy is that? Because that's also someone else really, really close to me. When my mother passed, Pharoah pulled up at my house and sat me outside and just played the 13 album, which is the live band stuff he's doing now.
Right.
Yeah.
In 2017, he was playing me, you know, what was the skeleton for what had became the 13 album.
Oh,
and
nice.
he said, I just wanted to come and kind of get you out your head. And he just ran through that stuff with me. So that was like, it spoke volumes for me. When we get to the point in the interview, when you figure out why I even do it, that touched me different than most things people could have done.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, so before we let you go, tell people how they can catch up with you online, give out all your social media, and then we'll get into the Keep Going record.
Yeah, super simple. Mic Handz, MICHANDZ, just about everywhere. On Twitter, it's the real Mic Handz, but please don't do that with ambition, thinking I'm gonna hit you back, because I'm never on there. No one ever talks to me, so I don't really, do the Twitter thing too well. However, I have like a couple thousand followers. I have no clue how that happened, but I feel so useless when I say something on Twitter and feel like I never get a response back until 3 days later. So, but Mic Handz on everything. Google 30 pages or so. If you can tell me something from page 3, hit me on the DM on Instagram. I'll send you some merch.
Nice.
There you go, man. There you go. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to call in tonight. Awesome conversation. Look forward to speaking with you again in the near future. Hopefully, once the next project comes around or the next single, maybe we can line something up again.
No, that's all. Next project is actually the Blacklist 2.
Okay.
Nice.
That's King of the Damned, which is the follow-up to Blacklist, Rise of the Daywalker. So that's going to be awesome. Salute Tracks that did the whole production on that. So I like doing producer albums so I can have a chemistry. Salute my partner, Lundercover, on this particular album, Sis McGrath. Salute Sharif for doing the radio work and showing love on my end.
Doubt.
Salute MJ doing the media work on my end. And then, my whole team, Mic Handz thing, that they help push and create everything. Rest in peace to my brother, Doc Ock, that just passed, my business partner that did all the stage management for us. And salute my brother that passed on the first, Kamani. Family, we love you, we miss you. So we out here, man. We just trying to get it golden era timeless. You already know how it goes down. We get it popping out here. Salute everybody on your station for showing me love.
No doubt, man. So, we're going to let you go. We're going to jump into it, the latest single. This one's Keep Going. And we're going to talk to you soon, all right?
Definitely that, man. And tell everybody, remember, you got to keep going. Got to keep flowing, not only for yourself, but to film your life showing people watching. We out here. One.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.